The purpose of this video is to remind you of all the parts that belong in a concluding paragraph and to show you some examples of students who are doing their concluding paragraphs well. First, we'll take some notes down in our notebook, so make sure you've got that out. Our concluding paragraph is going to work exactly the opposite of the way that an intro paragraph works. Whereas an intro paragraph goes from general to specific, a concluding paragraph will go from specific to general. It'll go from narrow to broad. What I mean by that is we'll start with summarizing the paragraphs in the thesis statement. Whatever happened in the essay, whatever you talked about, you'll be talking specifically about that. Then there will be a bridge statement, kind of the why, as to why Jackson used these literary elements, what the purpose of these things were. And then we'll end with the general, which is a connection to the real world. How does the theme connect to real world, real people? How does it relate to you? What should we do in response to having read these stories? So we're going from specific all the way to general. As a rule of thumb, good concluding paragraphs will have 3 to 5 sentences. They should not be shorter or longer than 3 to 5 sentences. And another hint, there should be no quotes in this paragraph. In the concluding paragraph, we don't want to introduce any new quotes. Here's an example. My point in all this is that the main two literary elements in Jackson's are foreshadowing and symbolism. The foreshadowing and symbolism that these stories show helps us see the dark and reflective writing style of Jackson's. Now you may be wondering, what does that have to do with life? Let me say that reading Jackson's stories is really important because they are the perfect example of people are not always what they seem, so we have to be careful. So this is not a perfect concluding paragraph, but they are exactly following this structure here, summarizing paragraphs in the thesis statement, the bridge, and the connection to the real world. We're going from specific all the way to general here. What does that have to do with life? This question here is setting them up. This is a bridge to get them to talk about what the connection to the real world is. How do Jackson's stories connect to the real world? This person's got a quote here. This does not need to be quoted, so the person should take off the quotes and then they'll be good to go. Second example. As you can see, nice transition, as you can see, she perfectly executes the task of incorporating many literary elements to make her stories as suspenseful and mysterious as possible. She uses foreshadowing and situational irony to capture the reader's attention and make her stories more impactful on the reader. Thus, her stories convey a worldwide message that each person has a cruel side they hide under their skin. So they've summarized all the specific stuff that they've talked about in the essay. We've got our 2 style adjectives. We've got the literary elements. They've got the theme. In conclusion, we can all relate to a different theme of hers, which is that we've all been betrayed or lied to, and it helps us cope with it, knowing that there are many people who also go through the same thing. Using a transition word here to finish us off, this is a general statement. This can be improved. This idea here can be improved to say something about what we should do in response to knowing this theme, in response to knowing that each person has a cruel side they hide under their skin, but they are definitely following the structure. They're going from specific all the way to general. Okay. So to review, a concluding paragraph should go from specific to general, summarize what you've talked about, bridge, give the why as to why we read her stories, why she uses those literary elements, and then a connection to the real world. We want to keep this to 3 to 5 sentences, and we want no more quotes in this paragraph. Everything should come from you.